Welcome to lesson number 1 on your leadership journey. Hopefully you have a journal, you have something to write with, and you have a quiet space so you can do some thinking. In developing yourself as a leader, I believe the number 1 element that you need to be an effective leader is you need to have self-awareness. You need to understand what got you where you are, what your tendencies are, what your likes, what your dislikes are, what is going to move you forward. I think self-awareness is incredibly important. That's number 1. Number 2 is there needs to be some kind of education for yourself. And this is part of that education. So let's work on both of those. Education about your self-awareness. So I talked about in the intro video, this is about right now your leadership journey and you. Timeline, we're going to start with you, first professional position, and the leadership role you had. And we're going to draw that timeline out to where you are today. The leadership role that you have today and this time frame. What we want to do first is spend some time, and you can draw pictures on this, you can put metaphors, whatever you want here, but it's so you understand yourself. We're going to start with these first 3 questions. Number 1, what was the role that you had when in your first leadership position? What was the role and how did you get there? What was the role? How did you get there? Take some time. If you need to pause this at any time, pause it. Take the time to think, get this down. Now, how did you lead while you were there? Were you a person who was a command and control person? Were you a person who built consensus, brought the team together, made sure you understood everyone? What did you do? So how did you lead individuals? And this might take a little bit of thinking. And I think as you progress through this, you might end up going back and saying, oh, I need to change how I did this. So how did you lead? Number 3, how effective were you? And when you write your effectiveness, put, no kidding, specific criteria. I was effective because I was able to grow these individuals from this point to this point. I was able to promote people. I was able to help them get promoted. I moved people on either by firing them or promoting them, moving them. What are the criteria that you're using to measure yourself as an effective leader? I think it will be interesting. And really, don't think about now, where you are now. Think about what did you do back then to measure them. Now let's dig. Now once that's done, now you have the big framework. Okay, here's where I was. Here's how I got there. Here's how I'm leading. Now, I want you to think specifically about these areas in leadership. And these are areas that are well accepted in leadership. Have you heard about transactional leaders? Have you heard about transformational leaders? Transactional leaders are those that are only worried about the relationship, the hierarchy, this for that. If you do this, I will pay you. If you do this, I give you direction, I expect you to do that. So that's a transactional leader. Transformational leader is an occasion where leader and followers come together and they make each other better. So they motivate each other, they provide motivation. So there's more of a moral leadership there. They are doing this as a team and they're moving together. They help make each other better. So that's transformational leadership. All right, so after those 2, I want you to think about, was I a transactional leader or was I a transformational leader? How did I lead? So now we're getting in more depth into your leadership. Next, where did your power or authority, you choose what you want, where did it come from? Did it come from your position? Did it come from your ability? Did it come from your personality? Did it come from your expertise? Where did your power of authority come from? I think it's important for us to understand. As a leader, we're influencing individuals. We need to get things done. Okay, where did that come from? Understand that. And then last, write down the top 3 relationships you had in that organization. Who were the top 3 most important relationships that you had when you're in that organization? All right, there it is, lesson 1. And you want to do this for each phase along the way. What we're doing is we're going to take a look back and see, okay, where was I? How did I lead? And what difference did that make? All right, so this is going to be a look back at you and how you led. See you in the next lesson where we're going to talk a little bit more about the influences of the persons that led you.